Hey guys, Lee Godbold here with Junk Removal Authority, the authority on building, growing, expanding your junk removal business and your life. You can check us out at junkra.com. Getting in business takes a whole lot of courage. It takes a whole lot of determination, maybe a whole lot of stupidity. Steve Jobs once said, the only people that really truly become successful in business are those that really enjoy what they do. And that's because that if you don't enjoy what you do, you're not going to be able to push through all the difficulty, all the resistance, and push back that you're going to get your business to become successful. And there's going to be a lot of it at the beginning. A lot of people have this fallacy, this incorrect belief or misguided belief that they've been working a job as an employee and they've been making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. They're working hard, they're putting in maybe a lot of physical work or a lot of mental work. They're really producing for this company. They're making this company money. If they get paid $50,000, they might be making this company $150,000 a year. And they say, well, if I'm making the company all this money, why don't I go on my own? I get to make all the money. I get to be my own boss. I'm not going to put up with their crap. I'm going to work when I want to work, do what I want to do. And that should be a goal that you have, but it's not going to be instantaneous. So I can't speak exact timelines for all businesses. I can tell you that a junk removal company run aggressively, meaning right from the start that you're out there advertising and you're pushing hard and you're getting systems in place and you're hiring people. One run aggressively can be profitable. Can you make serious money with great freedom by year 3 or just after year 3? So year 3, year 4, that can happen. If you had money at the start to kind of make some initial investments and have some losses at the beginning of your business, you can have that freedom. It's going to take a lot of patience. There's going to be a lot of disappointments. There's going to be a lot of questioning yourself on why the hell did I leave this last job to go in business? I can't even make the amount of money I was making in my last job and I'm working twice as much. Anybody that's read any amount of business books or listened to very many business people have heard people say that quite often if you're listening to somebody that's realistic. Now, if you're listening to the deal, it's going to be very tough, but there's certain traits, there's certain things that you're going to have, and if you go through this list and you don't think this is possible for you, you probably should not go in business if you've been making 40, 50, 60,000 a year, because you're simply not going to be able to have that amount of income. You're going to work twice as hard for half the amount of money, especially at the start. Most employees are impatient. Most employees want to be compensated immediately for the work that they're doing now. So if they do work now, they want to be compensated for it immediately. There's going to be a tremendous amount of work you've got to put in your business, especially at the start. You might not get paid for a year down the line, maybe 2 years down the line. It is amazing. However long you think it's going to take to make your business successful, you're probably going to want to double that normally. That's not to say that your sales figures, like some of y'all that you've been in business for a little while and you might be making $5,000 a week right now, bringing in $5,000 a week, and somewhere around $5,000 a week. And you say, well, I'd like to double that next year. You very well might double your gross, but your expenses are probably going to go up before that next thing. So your profit is always going to take longer to get than you initially believed it would take, unless you've really bought into somebody else that's telling you exactly how it's going to work. So it's always going to be harder than you believe it to be 99.9% of the time. So what are the traits you've got to have to be successful in business, whether it be a junk removal business or a service business or restaurant, any other type of business? What is it going to require to get you to whatever you deem successful? And now what I'm saying successful to, what is successful to me could be different from you. But I can guarantee you these traits right here, no matter how large you're thinking, no matter how big your goals are, these are traits you're going to have to reach that point that you call success. Number one, you're going to have guts. There is nothing whatsoever in business that doesn't take freaking bravery. To grow a business and scale a business and grow it large Grow it beyond you. Grow it where you have that freedom you were wanting to get. You have that freedom where you don't have to work all the time. You can work when you want. To get to that point, it's going to take freaking guts. You're going to have to be willing to get the word out about your business. If you're not willing to get the word out about your business, nobody's going to know about you. You could have the greatest junk removal service in the world, but if nobody knows about you, you're not going to get to that successful point. Now, you can do that one of two ways. You can advertise a lot, or you can work for 10 or 15 years, and over that time, get word of mouth going, and you finally touched enough people that you start to have a decent business. Advertising, you've always got to advertise some, but aggressive advertising removes time from the equation. It shortens the period of time where you get to the point your business is successful. You've got systems in place. You've got people in place that allows you to go on vacation, go to your kids' soccer games, take time off work, start another business, whatever you want to do. Advertising, aggressive advertising that works, takes time away. It takes time out of the equation. It shortens the period of time. So you can work 15 years hard, 10 years hard, or you can advertise hard for 3 years. And that's kind of the difference right there in the two approaches. Number one, if anybody can last on a junk removal truck and do it hard, and I mean 4 or 5 jobs a day, 6 days a week, if you can do it hard for 10 years, then you're a hell of a worker, and I'll give you props for that. That's extremely difficult work. What happens if you get injured? A lot of people are just going to lose interest, get bored. So it's just you're putting a tremendous amount of work for very little payback at that point, and you really remove freedom, because by year 6 or so you'll have a decent income going. If you're not advertising hard, you might be bringing in $60,000-$70,000 a year. But the problem is, if you quit, you're going to lose it. So you almost get trapped in that job. You're like, well, I can't go. If I go back to working as an employee somewhere, I'm only going to be making $40,000, which is what I was making before. I've got to keep doing this thing. And you get to the point you hate your job. And like Steve Jobs said, if you hate your job, you're eventually going to give up. You're eventually going to drop out and give up. So number one, it takes freaking guts. It's big money. You're going to spend money, and you're going to do a lot of knocking on doors, and you're going to do a lot of phone calls, and you're going to do a lot of home shows and getting the word out. There's going to be estimates you're going to give. You're going to do a tremendous amount of work with no immediate return. Later on down the line, that's when your return is going to happen. Number two, it takes impatience. And that means it's not patience. The opposite of patience, impatience. It takes impatience is the number two thing. You've got to be impatient to get everything done you need to get done, all the tasks, all the work that needs to be completed, the people you have working for, the amount of time they're taking to complete work. You need to be impatient on that completion time. You need to be unreasonable on getting things done. That's number two. If there's a deadline or a task that needs to get done, you need to be willing to work 20 hours a day, 15, 18, 20 hours a day to get that done. Not necessarily all the time. I can promise you, I know I generally function a lot better on 6-7 hours of sleep than I do on 3 or 4. But in short-term spurts, I will settle for 3 or 4 hours of sleep to meet a deadline. You've got to be willing to do the same. You have to be impatient on yourself and others to get a successful business. The number 3 thing is patience. So you're probably saying, well, you just said number 2 was impatience. How's number 3 patience? Number 3 is patience to see the results. So number 2 is you got to get the work done. You need to be impatient to complete the work. And then the third thing is patience. You have to be patient to see the results. So you're impatient to get the work done. You're patient to see the final product, to reap the rewards, to get the business, to get to the point that you want to be at. You need to be patient. Impatient on the task, patience on the results. Number 4, tenacity, almost to an unreasonable and extreme level. Almost to a level that anybody in their right mind would be driven absolutely insane by the amount of beatdowns you've had, by the amount of bloody noses you've received in business. I can promise you, you're going to have trucks that break down. You're going to have people that don't show up to work. You're going to have people file false workers' comp claims against your business. You're going to have customers complain. You're going to damage somebody's house. You're going to have a huge workers' comp audit that comes your way, a huge premium increase at some point on insurance. You're going to have an automobile accident that somebody gets injured in. There is a multitude of problems that are coming your way. As soon as you go in business, you no longer have your set task that you do as an employee. You no longer can go home and get away from your work. When you start your own business, your life is now your business. It's coming home with you, and you got all kinds of problems headed your way. So you need to learn to embrace those problems, to fight through them, to be tenacious, to know no matter what gets thrown in your way, no matter how hard you get hit, no matter what situation arises, be it monetary, be it physical, be it an economic collapse, be it any number of issues, you're going to push through. And if you can't have that level of tenacity, then you're not going to make it. Now, some of you there's going to be two people. There's two things going to happen here. You've got some people that believe they're able to take it, and they're going to get into it and realize it's a whole lot harder than they think. And there's going to be some of you that are able to take it and are going to be determined and push through, and you don't know it yet. This is what's going to have to happen, though, for you to be successful. You got to get there and get started, and then you're going to find out how tenacious you are. But I can promise you, every single one of those things I just listed there, we've gone through. And you absolutely have to just have the attitude that no matter what the hell happens, I'm going to push through. I'm going to make it happen. It's going to be a lot of uncomfortable moments. There's going to be some sleepless nights in there. I never had too many sleepless nights. I always just was confident no matter what was thrown my way, I was going to find a way through it. And 10 years from now, looking back, it ain't going to be that damn big of a deal. 10 years, if you get sued and somehow or another you lose everything you've got and you're tenacious, you're going to push through. You're going to be successful. And 5 or 10 years down the line, you look back and what was a really uncomfortable period there for months or years or days or hours or however long, it's going to work out. It's not a big deal. You're going to push through. And if you have that attitude, coupled with patience, impatience, and guts, you're 4/5 of the way to becoming successful in business, to running a successful junk removal company, to running a successful service business, successful restaurant, successful whatever business. You're 4/5 of the way there. Number 5 is emotional control. I've talked about this before, and it goes a little bit along with tenacity, but there's going to be a lot of highs. There's going to be a lot of lows in this business. When you get a high, celebrate it momentarily. So, for example, if a sports team, basketball team goes out there and beats their rival. So around here, you got Duke and Carolina. If Carolina goes out there and beats Duke over at Cameron Indoor Stadium at Durham, they better celebrate that night, and the next day they better be back practicing. They shouldn't be hungover from partying the night before. They shouldn't skip practice because they just won the big game. Because right down the road, they got another ACC opponent that's really out there to get them. They got another business that's trying to knock them down, or they've got something beyond their control. Not that there's going to be a business turndown. So if you have really, really busy weeks, I can promise you slow weeks are coming. Don't get too crazy when good things are happening and go out and buy a lot of stuff you really don't need, because you need to be level-headed. You need to be very level-headed because there's going to be a downturn. So when things are good, you need to build up your resources to withstand when things get bad. So that is emotional control. So again, guys, you need guts. You need impatience. You need patience. You need tenacity. And you need emotional control. Though there are other traits that will lead to a successful business and you being successful, in my opinion, these are the 5 most important personality traits that's going to take you to the point where you can become successful. We'll dig farther into the details. We'll talk about delegating tasks and others in future videos. Those 5 things right there, though, you better figure out if you got them. If you don't got them, you better get them if you want to be successful in business. Hey, guys, 919-617-1975, 919-617-1975. Check out all the great information on junkra.com. We'll be talking to everybody soon.